Hey everyone, Martin Castelli here, and today I'm going to be talking about why you need to destroy you to become who you want to be. And the reason I'm making this video is because I just thought about how anytime I found myself in life where I didn't want to be, for example, out of shape, or just not making the money I wanted to make, or just not even feeling right mentally, how I had to literally destroy who I was in that moment or during that time frame to become who I wanted to be. Now, why I'm explaining this is because maybe you might be someone who is currently where you don't want to be financially, physically, or mentally. You kind of just feel like bogged down or jacked up. I'm going to show you how to overcome that and how I've literally been able to overcome that, right? Now, what you got to understand is this. What we have what's called a subconscious mind and a conscious mind, right? So I'm going to put it like this, right? So your conscious mind, I'm going to put here for conscious, and subconscious is going to be over here for SC. Now, your conscious mind is what you actually do on a day-to-day basis. Like, I want to go get a cup of coffee. I actually think about it. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee, right? Now, your subconscious mind is what you do without even thinking about it, right? So, for example, your subconscious mind is what's there for you to breathe in and out oxygen, right? You don't think about breathing. You just do it. Your subconscious mind is what controls you to do that. Now, the funny thing about the subconscious mind is that the subconscious mind actually affects our conscious mind, what we think about doing, right? And I'm going to break it down to you so it makes more sense. But how it works is this. Your subconscious mind, all it cares about is keeping you alive so that you could procreate, okay? Your subconscious mind does not understand your goals. It doesn't understand like the dreams that you have for yourself. All it wants to do is keep you alive, and it wants you to procreate, and it wants to keep you comfortable, okay? And this is why you're probably where you are right now, not even understanding it. But let me give you a quick example though. So your subconscious mind, how it works is this. Let's say you like watching a particular show. You have a very favorite show. You have a show that's like your favorite show. Whenever you watch that show, it gives you a lot of dopamine. You feel good. Your subconscious mind registers that as something that is good. It'll give like, okay, you're watching your show, check mark, this is good. It wants you to keep doing that because it's realizing that you find comfort in that. And that's what it wants. It wants to keep you comfortable. All right. I'm going to show you how to actually use that to your advantage. Now, the other thing is the subconscious mind wants to bring you to comfort and away from discomfort. So, for example, let's say you go and you drink a cup of coffee and it tastes like crap. Your subconscious mind registers that because it gives bad hits. You're like, oh, this tastes terrible. Remembers that. Now you're not going to want to drink that again. Your subconscious mind registers that. You're not going to have the desire to go forth to do it again. This is also why people have addictions to corn. I'm not going to say the word because I know YouTube doesn't like it. This is why we have addictions to corn, because what happens is you go and you watch some corn. Your subconscious mind registers that because you get a bunch of dopamine hits that you're not supposed to really have that much, that you're only supposed to feel when you're intimate with another person, right? But you do it watching a video you shouldn't be watching, and then you get a dopamine hit when you know, right? And then the subconscious mind registers that as a good hit and that wants you to do it again. This is why you'll find people that are stuck in the habit of corn watching over and over again, even when they don't want to, because the subconscious mind has now registered that as something that brings you pleasure, right? So now what happens is people might be, you might be sitting on your computer one day and then for some reason you just get this urge out of nowhere, like, hey, go do this thing. And you're like, why do I keep getting, and even you get to the point where you're like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I know because I've dealt with this, is what I'm talking about it. You get to the point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, but you find yourself keep doing it, even though it makes you feel disgusting or makes you feel worse after doing it, after you get that dopamine hit. It's kind of like the same thing like with drug addicts and whatnot, right? But what happens is because the subconscious mind has now registered that, that's why you get those kind of like the random thoughts where it's like, oh, let me go do this, even though you don't want to do it. But let me get back on track. So what does this have to do with you destroying who you are to become who you want to be? But what it has to do is this. Your daily habits is what determines where you're going to be at tomorrow. I'm going to break this down on literally a daily level. So let's take me, for example, right? Whenever I found myself in a place where I didn't want to be, for example, let's actually just erase this. And I don't want to put these two up here. I had a thought in mind what I was going to do with this, but it didn't come out how I wanted it to be. But let's say I've ever been where I didn't want to be. Like, for example, recently, working a job I didn't want to be at, right? So for example, I was working a job, here for a job, okay? and my job was paying me about 60K a year, and I didn't want to be there. But what had got me stuck to wanting to have to work a job was what I was doing on a daily basis. Okay. So what do I mean by that? When I was working a job and I was making 60K a year, what got me there was that I was watching a lot of television. I was spending time doing things I shouldn't have been doing because I'm also a business owner, right? Now, I've done a lot of entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for the last, I want to say at least 11 years, right? And what happened is when I was an entrepreneur, I'm still an entrepreneur. I'm going to put entre here. Spelled it all wrong. Entrepreneur. I'm going to put entre here. I'm not going to write the whole thing, right? What happened was I had a lot of highs and lows, okay? There'd be times where I'd make amounts of money that people would think was not even possible in a single month or in a single day, right? And I had incredible lows. And what caused that was literally my daily habit. So what was I doing on a daily basis? So when I had incredible highs in my entrepreneurship business, right? It was because I was really focused in. I'd work like 8 hours a day on my business. Okay, I'd focus in on getting whatever I needed to get done in my business, and that would produce results. Now, whenever I had incredible lows in my business, for example, it would be because instead of putting my 8 hours into my business, right, I'd put 8 hours a day into television, right? Scrolling on my phone. I'll put scrolling here, right? Watching corn. I'm gonna put corn here, watching corn. Whatever it might be, right? Just wasting time, right? Now, you're probably asking me, what does this have to do with any of this that you're talking about, right? Now, let me break it down to you like this. So I work to this. In life, what you have is inputs and outputs. You literally get in what you put out. So it's kind of like this. Life is kind of like, you got to kind of see life like, let's say you have like a car. I'm going to put a triangle here for a car, put some wheels on it, right? And now this car is going to take you whatever is going to take you wherever whatever you fuel it with. So what you fuel it with is going to determine where it's going to take you. So let me show you, let me break it down to you like this, right? So get back over here, erase this. Let me show you. And this is going to make sense. You stay with me to the end of this video, and it should definitely help you out with as far as just getting to where you want to be and understanding why you aren't where you want to be. All right. So let's break this down real quick. So here's the car, right? This is the car. This is the car we're going to call life. And if you put in, is literally inputs and outputs. So let's say I spend most of my days doing what the average person does, which is watching television. So we're going to say this is the average life. We're going to put here for average person here. And what this person probably does is this person watches TV. They scroll on their phone and put S here for scroll. They watch TV. They probably go out and drink with their friends. They spend a lot of time watching corn. And then they probably work a job. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with a job. I'm just using this as an example. This is just like the average person. Now they put it, this goes into the car, and you do this on a daily basis. And what you'll find is you do this for a period of years and months. What you're going to find is the car is going to take you to, let's say, this house right here. And this is the small house that nobody wants to be at, right? The car is going to take you here to the house. I'm going to call this average. Okay. This is like explaining, the job I was working, 60K. This takes you to the house that makes you 60K. Okay. This takes you to the house where you feel unfulfilled. So we're going to put unfulfilled, right? This takes you to the place where it's like depressed, right? Because of course, as you know, if you've ever dealt with corn before, like I said, when you do it for a certain amount of time period, you start to feel terrible, right? Because honestly, it's like, it's not natural for you. You're not supposed to have that much dopamine hit in that way. And that's why you start feeling like depression and different things like that. I hope it makes sense, right? But this is where you feel unfulfilled, depressed, you feel sluggish, right? So even in part of that is like what you eat on a daily basis. You might be eating, like, you eat out all day. So like junk food, I'm gonna put junk. So it's like junk food over here, eating junk food all day, right? So you might feel sluggish, right? You feel unfulfilled, you feel depressed, you feel sluggish. You also might be struggling financially, right? Struggling financially. This is where I was at. Okay. So let's go back to the struggling financially part, right? So when I was struggling financially, whenever I had my highs and my lows, it was literally because I went back to my daily habits of watching the television, right? Scrolling on my phone, playing video games, just literally wasting time and putting in these inputs that literally gets me this output right here. Because what happens is this: most people don't look at their lives or their circumstances as a outcome of what they do on a daily basis. So what you have to do is this, right? I actually read a book one. It was by Grant Cardone. I think it was the 10X book. It was a 10X book. I read it back in 2015. And what he said during that book was that you have to start taking accountability for everything in your life. And I know for most people, it sounds like a maddening thing. Like, why would you blame yourself or take accountability? Because taking accountability is literally you owning up and taking blame for anything that happens in your life. So let me give you an example. For example, the example that he gave in the book was this. He was like, let's say you go out and you drive a car, right? And you get into an accident. Most people get into an accident and the person hits you. You're going to be like, that's that person's fault because they hit you, correct? And of course, when it comes to insurance, all that stuff, of course, you're going to get paid because it's their fault. But you getting into the accident, you have to look at that as your fault. And here's why: because you literally chose to wake up at that time and leave at the time that you left, right? You chose to take the streets that you took to get to work, right? And then because you did that, the accident happened. Because literally, had you chosen to leave your house an hour later or 5 minutes later, 5 minutes earlier, you wouldn't have gotten to the accident. So it's literally your fault that you got into the accident. Your inputs caused that output, right? So I'm gonna give you I know that's like an extreme example, but trust me, it is such a freeing thing when you start taking responsibility for your life. So let me give you an actual example. So for example, right, whenever I found myself in this place where I had to go back to a job, for example, right? I was actually in this place about 2 years ago, right? After having crazy high lows. And I want to say my income figure, because I know people, if I tell you the income I've made, people will be like, it's not, and that's not the purpose of the video. This video is really just to help you out, to really explain to you how you could change your life with this, how to destroy your old stuff, right? But, right, whenever I found myself in this place where I was sluggish, I was struggling financially, I was feeling depressed, I was feeling fulfilled, it was literally because of my daily inputs. And let's go back, like I was talking about the subconscious mind again, right? And you're probably saying, but why would you, the subconscious mind, remember, like I said earlier, the subconscious mind, the whole goal of the subconscious mind is to keep you comfortable and to keep you and make you procreate, right? That's like it. It doesn't know about the goals that you have or, like I said earlier, what you want your life to look like. Sorry, right? Because it can't tell the difference. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between reality, right, and what's not real. This is why also it's so important the way you speak to yourself, right? If you tell yourself, I'm always going to be depressed, or I'm also, for example, let's say you were like somebody's out of shape. If you're like, I'm always going to be fat, or I'm always going to be out of shape, whatever, your subconscious mind doesn't know that, and it registers that as reality. And what you say, you literally become. This is why the Bible says life and death is in the tongue, right? Because literally what you say to yourself is what you become, right? So if you say to yourself, I'm never going to be anything in life, or I'm always going to be a drug addict, or things like that, and then you literally play that out, it's because you've literally been saying it, and now your subconscious mind believes it, and it registers that, and it becomes your reality, right? Let's go back to subconscious mind. Because it doesn't understand reality from fiction, right? All it understands is comfort and what's discomfort. When you do these things, right, on a daily basis, you're not thinking about long term. This is the issue with most people. Most people don't think about the long term. They think about the now, right? They think about feeling good now, and they sacrifice their later for feeling good now. Because you could only have it one or two ways. You could either sacrifice your now, right? Or you could give up now, so you can have later, or you can give up later, so you can have now, okay? And most people choose this right here, where they give up the later so they can have now, right? Stay with me. I'm about to break this down to you. So look, what happens is this. You say now, right? So I'm going to give up my later. You choose the now. What it looks like is this. Instead of going to the gym so you can feel better, right? Or eating good food so you can be healthy later on, what you do is, or what I used to do, for example, if you're in this place right now, because you might not be in this place right now, you might have overcome this, and you understand what I'm talking about, right? What most people do is they'll come home and they watch television. This is what I used to do. Like whenever I found myself in this place, I'd come home, or when I had free time, I'd spend 4 or 6 hours a day watching television, or 4 to 6 hours a day playing video games. Right? I used to be big on PlayStation 4, playing 2K, getting my player to a 99, getting like all these accolades, and it feel good in the moment. Like my brain is registering, like I'm getting good, right? And I hit these dopamine hits. It feel really good because I'm having fun in the moment, or watching television. You feel really good in the moment, or I'd go out and eat fast food or go out to restaurants and eat, and it feels really good in the moment. You get all these crazy dopamine hits, or just even watching corn, for example, feels really good in the moment. You're getting all these dopamine hits, and in the moment, it feels so good that your subconscious mind registers this as comfort. Okay? Comfort, right? Now, because you feel comfortable, you're going to continue to do this day in and day out, right? But what happens is, as we do this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, this is when we then start to sacrifice the later. We're starting to sacrifice the later. So our dreams, we're literally giving up the now so that we can get our dreams later. Because honestly, to get where you want to be in life, right? For example, where I want to be, is going to take a lot of work. There is nothing worth having in life that does not take a lot of work, right? Because what a lot of people want is they want to be able to have the other house. And I'm going to show you the other house, because we talk about this is the average house, right? They want the above average house. So let me show you. Most people want is this. Erase this real quick. Because who wants to be average? Nobody wants to be average. I don't want to be average. And if you're watching this video, you're probably someone who doesn't want to be average. Especially if you've gotten to this point. You definitely don't want to be average, right? So let me break it down to you like this. How it looks is this. You want to go to the house that is above average, right? You want to go to your dream house or your dream life. So look, put another house right here. I'm going to put a D right here, okay? Now, what this stands for is the dream life, the life that most people want, the life that most people want to achieve, right? This is the life where you don't have financial struggle, where you are financially free, for example. Financially free, I'm going to put the whole thing. This is just financially free, where you are. I'm going to put FF instead. So I'm trying to think of the best way to write this so it doesn't make this video. So put free. So financially free. This is a life where you are fit. Okay. This is a life where you got the 6-pack abs. You look good, which as you can see, I'm not there right now because I've been in this place a little bit longer than I should have been recently. I'm actually going to the gym today to fix this. But this is the life where you are fit. This is the life where you have a good relationship, right? Like me, I have a fantastic relationship with my wife right now. Okay. Or this is the life where you feel fulfilled. Like you feel good waking up in the morning. You were excited because you were crushing it, right? This is what most people desire in their life. They want to be able to feel good. They want to be able to have financial freedom. They want to be able to have a great relationship with their family. This is where this comes from. But to be able to get that, right, it's going to take this. It's going to take you, instead of you, I'm going to put here for dream again. This is the input you have to put, right? So for you to do that, it's going to take you investing time into making it happen, right? So it's going to be like studying, right? So instead of you, when I'm saying studying, I'm going to talk about books, right? So for example, like I'm an entrepreneur, all the things I've learned, I've invested money and time into learning it, right? So for example, I do a lot of social media marketing. I had to invest into multiple courses and invested time into actually going through those courses. Because some of these courses I've gone through, they've been hours long. And I could either take the time, which is what most people do, is they don't want to invest in the course or even spend the time to learn through the courses, right? To learn the skill sets. Because honestly, like if you're not where you want to be in life right now, it's literally because you just don't have the skills or know how to create the life that you want. And the only way you could do that is by learning from somebody else or investing the time to learn how to do it, right? But most people, what they do is, instead of investing their time, and what I've done, right, when I was struggling, instead of investing the time into making my skill set better, so I'm more valuable in the marketplace, I'd invest that time into watching Netflix or watching the latest movie or spending time watching whatever it might be, sports, basketball, right? And while I'm investing that time, it's literally giving me the output of this. Now, if I want this input where I am able to create something that gives me the financial freedom or just gives me the life that I want, it's going to take me investing an insane amount of time to make it happen. Because honestly, Like, nobody has really a time issue. What you have is called a time management issue. That's what most people have. Because most people have is we all have the same 24 hours in a day. But it's amazing how you see some people build empires and some people become like almost literally nothing, right? And it's literally because of what they're putting their time into. So let's go back to this, right? So instead of spending 6 hours a day on watching television, right? What I had to do was cut off the television. So whenever I found myself in a place I didn't want to be, I literally had to start to destroy who I was. Look, I had to destroy who I was to become who you want to be. So during these times where I found myself in life where I was, having to go work a job I didn't want to work or not making my own make or feeling terrible, I literally had to destroy who I was in that moment. What did that mean? The person who I was in that moment would watch television all the time. The person I was in that moment would scroll on their phone all the time, right? The person who I was in that moment would watch porn, things like that. I literally had to stop doing these things and literally cut them out of my life so that I could become who I wanted to be. Who I was in that moment was producing the life I did not want. Hope you guys are understanding that. Who you are in the moment is literally producing the life that you do not want. And who you are in the moment is literally what you're doing on a daily basis. Like, it's not disconnected. Like, your daily actions that you do on a daily basis is not disconnected from the life that you have. Like, if you're living the life that you don't want right now, you're living that average life you don't want to be at right now, it's literally because of what you've done for days on end, but for a long period of time. So what do I mean by that? Like, what you've been doing for the last 2 years have been watching TV for 4 to 8 hours a day, right? You're scrolling on your phone for 4 to 8 hours a day. You're eating junk food all the time. Of course, you're probably gonna be somebody who's working a job you don't want to be at. You're probably gonna be out of shape. You're gonna feel depressed. You're gonna feel anxious, all these things. That's because you're literally feeding yourself in your life these inputs and it's giving you this output, right? So for example, it's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym, if you go to the gym for 6 months and all you do when you go to the gym is walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes and that's it, and you go home, of course you're not gonna look like the person who goes to the gym for an hour a day and is in there just doing crazy amount of sets of reps of bench pressing and lifting all types of weights and like going all in. Of course your body's not gonna look the same because you haven't put in the same input that they have, right? It's the same thing with life. If you want to have a better output in life, you literally have to change what you're doing on a daily basis, right? You can't be the person that goes to the gym and work out. I'm using gym because it's an easy analogy, right? I'm just trying to get you to really understand. You can't be the person that goes to the gym and put in 5 minutes a day and expect to get the same results as somebody that puts in 6 hours a day. This is why people always be like, I hear people always are like, it's not fair that some people are rich and some people are broke and things like that, right? And now there is a bunch of different factors. I'm talking about like the outliers and things like that too. But unless you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, right? If you really like got it out the mud, you really worked hard for it. Like, I hate people who come to like people that like really came from rags to riches and they're like, it's not fair. Like, no, like anyone I've seen that has had an insane transformation in their life, they've put in an insane amount of work to get there. And the thing is that most people are not willing to do that. Most people want to be able to watch Netflix, come home and make the same money as the CEO who's literally invested all of their life, like gone into crazy debt, put in hours of work just to get to where they want to be at, right? And that's literally the difference maker. So let's go back to this. So what is the daily inputs that I had to do to get to where I was not having to worry about my bills, right? Fit, had better shit, things like that. It had to take me literally, number one, studying and investing into learning skills. Like, we live in 2024. There is literally nothing you cannot learn on the internet today. Like, back in the 90s, you would have to actually go out there and like go to college or really like go to like there was like no resource out there in the 90s like there is now in 2024 where you can literally open up your phone or a laptop and have an infinite amount of information to build whatever type of business that you want or make income in any type of way that you want. Most people are just lazy nowadays. Like, it's so crazy because like it's easier than it's ever been to create freedom, but most people are lazier than they've ever been as well. People are just lazy. It's just the honest truth, right? It's also going to take you eating right. So for example, eating right, it's gonna take you, like, whenever I want to eat better, I'll literally cut out, whenever I want to feel better, I literally cut out like all sugars on my life. Like, I actually gone on like a month, 2 months where I would eat no processed sugar, and you'll be surprised how much better you feel when you just change the way that you eat, right? Like, cause I'm somebody that's like big on sweets. Like, I go buy pies. I buy like all types of sweets and stuff, and my wife hates it, but I like to I'm big on sweets, right? My wife, I thank her because she always helps me out. But sometimes I get to the point where I'm like, man, I'm feeling so sluggish and tired. I'm like, all right, I know I'm at that point where I have to cut this out because it's literally causing me to feel that way where I'm getting back to this place, right? It takes that. It takes also, making sure that you're watching the right things. So instead of watching like entertainment stuff, I'll go out and I'll watch like motivational stuff or things that are actually teaching me, adding to my life, right? Where I'm no longer just wasting time, right? Reading books is another thing. Actually reading books, and not just any books, but reading books that are actually going to help you get to where you want to be. So for example, a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to be rich. I want to be this. When was the last time you actually read a book from a person that's rich that shows you how to get to where you want to be at? Because I'm telling you right now, there is so many books out there. There's books from Warren Buffett. There's books from Steve Jobs. There's books from Bill Gates. There's books from Jeff Bezos. All these people, they're literally written books. You go out and actually read it, and they actually break down to you what they were doing on a daily basis to get to where they want to be at. But most people don't do it because most people rather just watch Netflix. They rather just go waste time doing other things where it's like, what you put in is what you get out. So these are the things you're going to start doing on a daily basis, right? That's going to get you to where you want to be, right? So for example, even like creating, I'm going to put creating right here. So another thing I do, I'm big on social media. There's times where instead of spending time to create content, like I'm doing right now, creating content, right? To get attention, I would have spent that time watching TV or scrolling, literally losing that time instead of making something that's creative. That's not creative what I'm looking for, not creative, but that actually brings back something, right? That takes me to here. Okay. Hope this is making sense. Let's go back. So let's break this down to just a bit, right? Hope you guys understood this. So let's go back to the actually destroying yourself. What I was talking about. You have to destroy you to become who you want to be. You're about to take this home right now, right? So understanding that what you have to do to become who you want to be is you literally have to destroy who you are right now, which is literally getting out of your comfort zone. Have you ever heard that? The life you want is right outside of your comfort zone. Okay? The things that feel comfortable to you, the things that your subconscious mind is telling you that feels comfortable, like I said earlier, is doing it on purpose because the whole point of the subconscious mind is to keep you alive, to keep you to procreate. It does not understand your goals, your dreams, like I was saying earlier, but I'm about to show you how to use that to your advantage as well. I'm going to explain to you how to use that to your advantage so that you can start to work towards the life that you actually want and become who you want to be. Okay? So everything you want right now, hold on, I'm just reading to erase this. I need to get a bigger eraser for my next video when I do this. Everything you want to be, or who you want to be, for example, right? So who you want to be, right? Everything you are right now, where you are right now in life is because you are inside of what's called the comfort zone, right? I know you've probably seen this, but I'm going to break this down to you so you really understand it. Comfort zone, okay? So this is the comfort zone, right? And the comfort zone, as funny as it sounds, the comfort zone is making you not have the comfort that you actually want. It's giving you short-term comfort and it's costing you your long-term comfort, right? Being able to get your mom out of that job or being able to have so that your family doesn't have to worry about paychecks or just whatever it might be, right? You have long-term goals you want that your short-term thinking is costing you right now, okay? So your comfort zone is this. Going to work every day, 9 to 5, right? This is inside your comfort zone. It feels normal to you, even though you don't like it, because most people don't like their jobs. They do it because they've become accustomed to it. It's become comfortable to them, right? There is no what do I want to say? There's no real, there's a discomfort there, but there's a comfort there because you become adjusted to it. So let me give you a good example, right? Have you ever heard of somebody who has been in a abusive relationship or something like that? And I see it all the time. Where not me personally, but I've seen on television stuff like that, where it's somebody is in an abusive relationship and people ask the person why don't you just leave? And because they've probably been in that relationship for years, it becomes a comfort zone for them. So some people you even find is that when you try to remove them out of the situation, they'll go back into it again because it become a comfort for them. They become accustomed to it, right? Actually, there's somebody I know personally who actually talked about this. They were actually in a abusive relationship. And they said that, and they're not out of the relationship for months. They said that because they had become so accustomed to it, they actually started to feel kind of weird because they had the person there, right? Their partner was no longer there to yell at them, and they kind of felt a discomfort from them. They kind of missed it because they had become accustomed to have somebody that was there, accustomed to somebody that was there, that was yelling to them, that was yelling at them all the time. It became a comfort for them, right? It's the same thing that happens to people. Even though something that you really don't like that, it becomes a comfort for you. So your 9 to 5 becomes a comfort for you. Eating fast food becomes a comfort for you, right? Watching television all day becomes a comfort for you. And XYZ, you know what the things are, right? And these are what keeps you in your comfort zone. You come home every day, you do the same thing every single day, and you get the same result, and you're like, why did my life never change? It's because you're inside your comfort zone. Now, everything you want is outside of that, right? Because the things that you want are going to make you feel uncomfortable. That's what's going to bring you closer to where you want to be. For example, like recording a video like this. Right now, I'm outside of my comfort zone because this is my first video doing this. I'm not used to doing this, but why am I doing that? Because I'm trying to reach and become who I want to be, right? Because right now I'm at where I don't want to be. And if I continue in my comfort zone, I'm going to continue to get the same result. So say I don't record this YouTube video and I go back to just watching television all day, it's going to get me back to where I didn't want to be, where I'm at right now, if that makes sense, right? But to get to where I want to be, it's going to be, look, I'm recording a YouTube video. Right? It's uncomfortable. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not natural in front of the camera. I'm like, this is my first time doing this, right? It's also going to be me going to the gym. So gym. And what's going to happen when I go to the gym? I'm probably going to be sore. I'm going to hurt, right? Because I'm not used to doing it. It's outside of my comfort zone. Even like reading books, right? That's something I don't enjoy doing because it's outside of my comfort zone. But if I do it long enough, it's going to get me to where I want to be. So here's the thing about getting outside of your comfort zone. You have to stay outside of your comfort zone long enough to actually see the results of you getting here, right? Because you can't have watched TV and eat fast food and work your 9 to 5 for 5 years and then expect you being outside of your comfort zone for a day is going to get you to one. Like it doesn't work like that. That's like the equivalent of me eating fast food for years on end, and then I go to the gym for a day and I'm like a 6-pack abs. Like, no, it's going to take a long time to correct the damage that this has done, right? Because being in a comfort zone for so long has caused a lot of damage, right? And I say damage because it has you where you don't want to be, right? It's kind of like, you kind of got to see it as like marking points. I don't know, right? But being in here, if you've been in your comfort zone for 5 years, it's going to take more than just one day of you course correcting to get to where you want to be. It's probably going to take weeks and sometimes even months. So for example, when I was working at job I said earlier, I was making $60K a year. I didn't want to be there. And I had got to this place because my business had gotten to a place where I was making over 5 figures a month. But because I had been lazy, I got comfortable, got back to my comfort zone, I started to lose a lot of money, right? Where I wasn't making money anymore. And then I had to go out and find a job. So I was like, a job isn't a bad thing. But to get me out of here, to get me back to where I was working for myself and I had to work on a job, I want to make more than I'm making my job from home. It took me about, I want to say 4 months. 4 months, right? Of straight grinding. So this is what I literally did. So what happened was I seen an opportunity online. People were making some income, right, on Instagram, which I make my money right now, right? And I seen them making the money, and because I already had success online before, I was like, I can definitely do this. And I was like, I'm going to make this happen. And what I did was, when I found the opportunity, because there's opportunities all around you, you just got to be looking. You got to have your eyes open and take advantage of it. For 4 straight months, I started waking up at 4 a.m. I started giving up sleep, right? Because that sleep was part of my comfort zone. So you might be watching this, you're like, you woke up at 4 a.m.? What? Right? Your brain is already going like, what? 4 a.m.? I'm not willing to do that. And that's your comfort zone right there talking to you. That's your subconscious mind going, nah, you're good. Stay comfortable, right? And that comfort is literally drowning out your dreams, keeping you where you're at, keeping you inside of here. Because guess what? Waking up at 7 a.m., getting ready for work was my comfort zone. Getting up at 4 a.m. was outside of my comfort zone. But guess where that got me to? Where I wanted to be. But also getting up at 4 a.m. was destroying who I was in that moment. It literally was destroying me. Like, it felt uncomfortable. And as I was feeling comfortable, it was literally like my old self, who I was in that moment, literally being destroyed and literally becoming a new person. Because what happens is this then became a habit. And by month 2, it became way easier because it doesn't feel the same the first time. The first day you do it, it's like, oh my God, the crust is in my eye, my body was like, but by about a month and a half, it became normal to me. It became my comfort zone. The crazy thing is that as you do this, it actually becomes your comfort zone as you do it more and more, right? So what also happened was I started creating videos, right? For Instagram, I started making videos. So I put make videos. That's outside my comfort zone. But as I did it more and more, I started to get good at it. And then by a month, 2 months, it became my comfort zone because I started doing it more and more, right? The other thing I started to do is I cut out television. No more TV time. I was like, I'm not where I want to be, so I don't have time to watch television. So I literally cut that out of my life. I cut out the sweets. So for a while, I actually cut out the sugars because I knew that sugar, for example, I'm gonna put sugar here, SG. I cut that out of my life because I knew the sugar was bogging me down. It was messing up my mind and it had me feeling sluggish. It had me out of shape. So literally cut out the sugars. And for 4 straight months, I grinded. I'd wake up at 4 in the morning, I'd work. I'd come back home sometime with my family because I got a wife and kids, right? And then what I did was during that time, I just grinded it out. And I was like, hey, I'm going to get to where I want to be. I didn't know it was going to take 4 months. I didn't care if it took a year or 2 years. But I knew that I didn't want to be stuck here a year later, right? Because what happens with most people is they don't think about the future. They're like, hey, this is too hard. They're like, this is too hard to do. Like, this is too hard, right? They go, this is too hard. I'd rather just feel comfortable. They go, this is too hard. And then they run back to their comfort zone. They go back inside of this box. And then they're stuck inside of this box, a prison that you made for yourself. They're stuck inside of that box for the next year, 5 years, 10 years, heck, rest of their lives. Because they're like, I don't want to give up who I am now to become who I want to be. They literally sacrifice, because you have to sacrifice something. You're either sacrificing the now for the later, you're sacrificing the later for the now, right? And this is literally how it happens. So this is why you have to destroy who you are. Hope this makes sense. This is how you destroy who you are. So destroying who you are right now is you literally choosing, I'm no longer going to spend 8 hours a day on YouTube or 8 hours a day watching television. I'm no longer going to spend my money on fast food and eating junk food. I'm no longer going to spend time watching porn or things like that, right? I'm going to now destroy that so I can become who I want to be. I'm going to do what's uncomfortable to me so that I can work towards who I want to be, right? Because like I said earlier, your inputs determine your output. What you put your time into, what you literally consume is who you become. And if you're not who you want to be, you're not where you want to be, then you got to destroy yourself and become who you want to be. Do what's outside of your comfort zone on a day-to-day basis until you get to where you want to be. And usually that's not going to be, like I said, it's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to be something you got to do until you get to where you want to be. Honestly, that's what it takes. Like, that's why I said, like, during that time period, I know it's going to take 4 months for me to get to where I want to be. But even if it took a year, 2 years, I was willing to do it until I got to where I want. Because honestly, it's going to take a lot of time to course correct the damage you've done to your own life. Is where you have to take accountability. And this is why even to like the victim mindset, people who have a victim mentality, you literally taking away all the power from your life. Where if you blame the government, you blame your parents, you blame circumstances, that means that you can't change it because it's outside of your control. But if you take accountability and you go, it is my fault, I'm the reason these things are happening, that means you can change it because you have the power. And all you have to do is change your daily inputs to get the output that you want. I hope this helped you guys out. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts about this, go ahead and comment below. I'm going to reply back to all the comments below as well. Comment what you think about this, if this helped you out. If you disagree with anything, comment below. I'm going to read the comments and reply back to every single comment on this video that I get. I hope this helped you guys out. And yeah,